I'm going to be talking with you about movement today, but first, you're all going to move together. So they're going to bring the house lights up, and I have some dancers who are coming out to help you. You're going to arise, if you can, stand up in your spot. We have some lovely accompaniment from Elisa Bear. And what I'd like you to do is turn to the person next to you, okay? If you're remaining seated, we'll make sure that you get a partner. So you're turning to the person next to you, and my dancers will kind of wander around, make sure you have a partner. All right, so before we start moving, I need to emphasize my one rule for this exercise is no talking, okay? So this is a movement exercise. You might feel a little uncomfortable, but you just have to commit. So you're facing the person next to you. You're going to take a moment and make eye contact with them, okay? Turn to face them, yeah. I think we need a partner here, yeah. Good. So just take a moment without speaking to connect visually with your partner, if you can. And then one of you is going to start moving. So that could just be turning your head. It could be lifting an arm. But one of you is going to start with a simple movement. And your partner is going to become your mirror. Okay, so if you are starting the movement, go for it. Don't worry, you're not like being live streamed or anything. So if you're the person who started the movement, you are my leader, and the other person is the follower. Your one goal on this exercise is to become the mirror of your partner. So ignoring everything else that's going on around you, you're simply focusing on becoming the reflection of your partner. And you've got some beautiful musical inspiration to follow. It's okay to laugh, just try not to talk. So as this duet is developing, you're going to start to make some space to switch roles, again without talking, without winking, nudging, to switch roles between leader and follower. So you're still moving together, but whenever it can happen naturally, you're just going to switch between leader and follower. More comfortable moving together now, you can maybe try a different type of movement. Maybe try to integrate some facial expression. Do a cartwheel. No, just kidding. Nice, everyone. So now as we're moving into this final phase of this short exercise, you're going to allow the next 30 seconds or so to be a time for you to find an ending to your duet with your partner. So you're still moving, and you're going to know that you have reached your ending when you're both still, and you're going to hold that ending until the rest of the audience here has also reached their ending. Good, it'll take about 10 more seconds to find that. Beautiful. Awesome, you guys. Good job. You're all dancers. Yes, you can thank your partner and take a seat. Now everybody's getting their talking out. Okay. So what just happened there? You just had a totally unique one-time movement experience that you're never going to have again. And it probably felt good to get up and move a little bit once you got over the nervousness. But you also accomplished a few other things throughout that short exercise. So first, you established a relationship. Second, you negotiated change. And third, you came to a mutually agreed upon resolution. So that's pretty good, you know, for a couple minutes of work. So let's just take a moment and talk a little bit more about each of those three things that you just accomplished. And I don't have my clicker, so we can turn off the PowerPoint if you want. So the first thing, you established a relationship. As a movement teacher, one of the classes that I have the privilege of teaching is a dance class for individuals with Parkinson's disease and their partners. Now, Parkinson's disease is a disease that affects the central nervous system, often causing symptoms such as loss of balance, coordination, and general difficulty navigating through space. Communication, either through facial expression or verbally, becomes a challenge. And in this class that I get to teach with to individuals with Parkinson's disease and their partners, we often do the same exercise that you just did. We might take a little longer to let it develop, but it's really awesome to see this every time I teach, because every time I teach this exercise, I see the power of movement to connect. So whether someone has a limited movement range or a limited ability to speak, makes no difference because they are able to connect through movement. People who are often feeling isolated from others are suddenly in relationship. And preliminary studies done on the effects of dance for individuals with Parkinson's disease show not only a physical improvement, but also an improvement in social life, in the ability to connect with others. These studies also show a benefit to the partners who take class alongside the individuals with Parkinson's disease. So you and your partner established a relationship when you chose to make eye contact and begin to move together. Number two, you negotiated change. So some of you may have noticed that I'm pregnant. I have 2 weeks left. And there's a lot of change that comes along with being pregnant. And as someone who spent her whole life focusing on creating control and balance in her own body, it's been a little difficult to adjust to the changes. But what has helped me to deal with the hormone fluctuations and the mental and physical changes that accompany pregnancy is moving regularly. I choose dance, whether teaching or choreographing, and dance-based fitness. And there is actually, and I also own a movement studio, so every time I see people walk into the fitness studio, sort of most of them have day jobs, they kind of walk into the studio slumped over and kind of stressed out by the hectic pace of life. But I also get to see them leave standing a little taller after taking my dance-based fitness class, and maybe even smiling. And what happens in between is an unexpected physical challenge that they're able to meet in a way they may not have known possible before. So there's some science behind our brain's ability to adapt to change. It's called neuroplasticity. And studies done on stroke patients who've suffered from paralysis and other brain injuries show that movement helps to increase neuroplasticity. So moving regularly helps the brain to adjust to change. Today, you adjusted to change and negotiated change when you decided to switch roles through movement. So you just increased your neuroplasticity. Good job. Lastly, you found a mutually agreed upon resolution. So as a choreographer, I get to participate in the process of creating dance, which is really a beautiful process, but it's often a daunting one because it requires diverse groups of people working together to find a solution to a movement problem. The really great thing about that, though, is I get to often see dancers accomplish amazing things with their bodies as they find a way to move together and work together. Now, I want you to just take a moment and think about a person in your life who you might have difficulty connecting with, we'll say, difficulty understanding. Wouldn't it be cool if you could do this exercise with them and just make everything better? Well, there's actually some really neat science behind our brain's ability to read another person's emotion, to empathize. And studies that have been done on movement therapists who utilize mirroring techniques like the exercise we did today with patients who are autistic show a marked improvement in those patients' ability to empathize. And that all happens through something called the mirror neuron system. And that basically just describes our brain's ability to understand another person's intentions or emotions by watching them move. So for example, if I do this movement, you might have some idea of what I'm trying to communicate, right? And what emotion I'm trying to portray. And the same area of your brain that's activated by watching me do that movement is the area of your brain that would be activated if you were doing the movement yourself. And that all happens through the mirror neuron system. Now, if we all join in together, yes, I'm going to make you move one more time, and we add music. Good, see? All right. So then we're really connecting, and you have a much deeper understanding of the emotion and the intention behind my movement, right? So empathy, the ability to understand and relate to another person's emotional experience, is really the starting place for finding some sort of resolution. And I think we need more of that. Today, you and your partner, without regard to race, color, religion, political affiliation, or any other boundary that's been set up for us in society, found a mutually agreed upon resolution. So what does this mean for you in your daily life? Well, as a movement teacher, I would prefer that everybody go out and find some sort of dance-based movement class that you could participate in on a regular basis. But I know that is impossible for everyone, so I have 3 quick tips for you to integrate this. Number 1, pay attention. So often, and we've actually had a number of speakers talk about this today, we're just staring at our devices and we don't even realize how rarely we actually make eye contact with someone and pay attention to the way that they move. And this is actually one of the primary sort of rules that we follow when we're improvising in movement. You'd be surprised how the next time maybe you're not understanding someone, just paying attention to them, making eye contact, not through a screen, and watching what they might be trying to portray through their facial expression and movement will make a difference. Number 2, move regularly. So if you are like me, you might need to move every 5 minutes, especially, backstage. I was doing this to get ready to talk, okay? But you might also just need to set aside a specific time every day or every week to move intentionally. Oftentimes, people who have day jobs and are having a hard time finding a solution to a business problem find that taking a walk, getting up, walking around, or even stretching can help to create expansiveness, not only in the body, but in the mind. And number 3, get creative. So you all expressed some movement creativity today, just like choreographers do. And you have a lot more capacity in that respect than you may realize. Now, as I was talking with my husband about ways to make this a practical, ways to integrate this practical movement into everyday life, he's not a dancer and he's not a movement teacher, but he had the wonderful idea of us slow dancing the next time we get in a fight. Now, we haven't tried it yet because we've actually been getting along. I've got a little bit of leverage right now. But I'm sure after the baby comes, it'll really come in handy. So what if we opened ourselves up to a shared movement experience? How might contract negotiations or family disputes be resolved differently? I invite you to think of the endless possibilities of movement to transcend boundaries. And with growing scientific evidence backing up the importance of movement, it's something worth considering. Because I truly do believe in and have seen the power of movement to transcend boundaries. And I hope that today you got to experience a bit of that power as well. Thank you.